But Tawao Chidnot class Darian, welcome to our last class. It's kind of sad, and yes, I too am crying, Andrew Reddy, on the inside. But yeah, I've had a great time teaching these 10 classes and a good time getting to know some people and reestablishing some connections that I've had with some other people in here. So it's been good, and hopefully you've learned a little bit and have some tips. I gave you a whole sort of mixed bag of handouts for tonight. We're gonna do our introductions as usual, because that was one of my main goals, that you walk away with being able to introduce yourself, and hopefully you can do it as well as Amel did it tonight. And then we're going to do some animals and some plants. That was kind of a request that I had from some people last week. We're going to do a couple songs in Michif, and then we're going to talk a little bit about some tips that you can use and some resources that are great for some self-study and for hanging on to what you've learned. So somebody's in the waiting room. Oh, 7 people are in the waiting room. Holy. Amel, I can only view them. I can't let them in. If only I could say the same for some of my relatives. I can view them, but I can't let them in. Just kidding. I love my relatives. Some of them are probably watching. Okay, it looks like a whole schwack of people just joined us. So just wait till they're all in here before we proceed. All right, so for you people that just joined us, we just gave away a new car. Sorry, but you weren't eligible because you weren't here. Just kidding, we didn't give anything away. Amel did do a fantastic introduction of herself. And I was just mentioning to everybody that, yeah, Tawao Chinot class Darien, welcome to our last class. We're gonna do a little bit of review tonight, and then a whole lot of new learning tonight. And then we're gonna end the class with talking about some tips as to how you can use what you've learned and hang on to what you've learned. So I'm gonna pick on a few people here to do an introduction. And just one more time to model for you, I'll go really slowly. So Tanche Kiawao, Ras de Shinika Shon, La Valley Katapwe Doshtin, Maka Opashtauli Zu Newikin, Egua Nikishchetamon Le Mechifawian, Egua Na Atoshkan por Gabriel Dumont Institute, Tanchbina Kishanamahan Les Histoires de Mechif, Le Langue de Mechif, Egua Notemachanan. So let's see here. Debbie, you look ready to introduce yourself. Debbie, do you want to introduce yourself? And you can do as little or as much as you want.
Okay. Tanshi Kiawao, Debbie Deshinikashun. Sorry, I do still have to look at my page here.
Sikiam, it's okay.
Rivière Rouge, Doshin, Mustra, Newiken, Nawak, Kamawak, Lee Allery, Lee Henry, Lee LaFontaine, Pile Amiot, and Ekuche.
Good job. Kimiototen. Just writing a few little things here in the chat. So Sikiam is it's okay. Kimiototen is you did a good job. Let's see here. Bishop, do you want to introduce yourself?
Tanche Kiwa, Bishop Deshinikashun, Lavali Katepwe Doshin, Opostale Zu the weekend. Yeah.
Kimiototen. Denise, you want to give it a shot?
Tanchi Kiawao, Denise Dishinjikoshun, Edmonton Doshin, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Ni Weekend, Ni Nawakomak, Delorme, Aimant, Nadon, Lapierre, Can't think of any others. Marcy,
Kimi ototen. Nick, you want to give it a go?
Sure. Konsekiowao, Nick de Shinek Kashlin. De Kaipe Saint Lazare Doschin, Argina ne weekend. De Kishkanamaha sur le computer pour Regina Catholic. Ne Wakamoak, les Notes, les Fleuries, les Aidons, les Pritchards, and others.
Good job. Let's go to, I won't go to James because he's driving. Let's try Madeline.
Sure. Tansi Kiawao, Madeline de Snikeshun, Lontario Dushin, Opushtaw Lezu New Weekend, and Archiviste Nia.
Thank you for sharing. And I think we'll do one more here. Let's try, let's go with Stephen.
Sure. Tanchi Kiowa, Stephen Dishnikashun, Saskatoon Doschin, Opushta Lizuni Weekend, I Mitra Dikol Nia, Ni Atoshkanpur University of Regina, and Ni Wakomoak, Lee Davis, Lee Hillis, Lee Henderson, Lee Heichel.
Good job. Thanks for sharing. All right. I'm very impressed. The Kishite Mon. I'm proud. Looks like people have held on to what we've learned for introductions. Just going through the chat again. Oh, that's okay, Dallas. Dallas is just telling me she's not feeling well, so no worries. Okay, let's take a look at the lesson for tonight. So again, hopefully you all got this in your email. So we've gone through introductions, so we can skip that part. Make this a little bit bigger. Oh, too big. Okay, so one of the things that people asked about last week was, can we learn about animals, plants, and insects? So certainly we can. And I didn't put all of them here because unfortunately this isn't the ARC and I couldn't fit them all here. But I think I've put some very basic ones down that, you know, most people will know. And more importantly, most kids will know, because I'm a teacher. So I'm always thinking about, you know, the best ways to teach Michif to kids. And the other thing to remember with animals, I think, is that there's lots of animals that Michifs who largely were centered on the prairies never saw. So unfortunately, we don't have words for things like whales or elephants. We can make words for those, certainly. But traditionally, they're those things we didn't have words for. We only had words for the things that were in our world and that we saw. So this is kind of a little slice of some of those words. I'd say 95% of all animals, plants, and insects are derived from French words because, of course, they're nouns. Occasionally, you'll see a Cree word pop up, or a Cree word that we've slightly changed in Michif. And so you'll see a couple of those examples of here tonight. And just to remind you that when you're talking about more than one thing, you have to say li. That's how you pluralize. So that's like the pluralized. So animals is either les animaux or les animaux. Both are correct. And if you want to say one animal or one thing, you would use un, which is like ah, right? So here's some of the animals that I thought were important to know about. Okay, so, and you can just repeat after me. A badger is brero. Brero. A bear is nor. Nor. Beaver, castor. Castor. Now, buffalo, there's actually two ways to say it. I know that quite a lot of Michiefs that aren't from where I'm from, which is like southern Saskatchewan, they say buffalo. And any Michif would understand buffalo. But in the valley, we actually say vache de prairie, which is a prairie cow. Vache de prairie. Cat is minoche. Minoche. Now, the interesting thing about cat, these are the things I stay awake up at night wondering about. There are multiple ways to say cat. I don't know why there's not multiple ways to say animal more than cat. But cat, you can say minoche, which comes from Cree. They say minos. You can also say en chat, which comes from French, obviously. But some Michis will also say posis, which is how they say cat in Soto. So cat is an interesting word because it teaches us that all of those three parent languages have an influence on Michif. So either minoche, chat, or posis. And while Michifs from different areas will use different ones, all Michifs everywhere will understand all three of them. A deer is chevru. Chevru. A male dog is en chien, and a female dog is en chien. It's very similar, just slightly different pronunciations. An elk is biche. Biche. Not to be confused with fish, which is poisson. Poisson. There's two ways to say fox. You can either say un zwift or un renoir. Gophers are just like the normal gophers you see running around the prairies or running around the university if you work where I work. They are Swiss and Swiss. A tree squirrel is en Swiss de tram. En Swiss de tram. And a ground squirrel is en Swiss de brero. En Swiss de brero. A horse is joual. A mare is joma. Joma. A mink is fotro. Fotro. A moose, now it has this funny N in it. It's I find it very difficult to say an N and an L together. The word is narial. Narial. So it sounds like the N isn't there, and yet when I've heard fluent Michif speakers say this word, the N is there, but it's very, very, very subtle. But if you can't say it, if you just say narial, any Michif speaker will understand that's a moose. A muskrat is ra. Ra. A pig is un cochon. Cochon. A porcupine is porte-pic. Porte-pic. A rabbit is un lièvre. Un lièvre. Just realizing I spelled wolf with an E, which it doesn't have. Sometimes when you start learning another language, you forget how to speak your original language. So a wolf is lo, and a coyote is un pchelo, a little wolf. Pchelo. A weasel is un blet. Un blet. A wolverine, there's two ways to say a wolverine. One is carcajo. Carcajo. And the other way is huixteco. Huixteco. Now, huixteco shares the name of actually a spirit in Cree culture. And they have similarities, but Michifs call a huixteco a wolverine. And a man is en nom. and nom. And of course, I should have put woman here, but a woman you probably know is en femme. En femme. All right, on to birds. So how you say birds in Michif is les oiseaux. So again, most of these will come from French, although you'll see that there's a couple examples here that come from Cree. And the first one definitely is a Cree-derived word, and it's bats. I know bats aren't really a bird, but they fly, so I stuck them in here. Bats are li pahkwana chish. Li pahkwana chish. It's kind of fun to say, hey? Li pahkwana chish. It's one of my favorite words, actually. An eagle is aigle. Aigle. A killdeer is en becas. Becas. A wren is portefeuille. Portefeuille. A magpie is en pic de franc. En pic de franc. A kingbird is en petit rouet. En petit rouet, which literally means a little king. Like me. No, just kidding. I'm not little. A pheasant is faisan. Faisan. An owl is yibou. Yibou. A hawk is mangeur de couleuvre. Mangeur de couleuvre. It means an eater of snakes. A chicken is poule. And poule. Duck is canard. Canard. Now, James, you're supposed to be driving. Why are you writing cats had an influence on the Métis? Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Probably in some good ways and bad ways. Back to duck here. The interesting thing about canard is it's how you say duck, but it's also how you say kettle in Michif, and it's because old kettles are kind of shaped like a duck. Geese are lisoué. Lisoué. Crane is gru. Well, we don't see very many of these anymore. I think we used to see quite a bit more of them, but gru. A mourning or turtle dove is li tort. Li tort. I put a li here because generally you don't see them alone. Generally you see them in pairs, actually. A robin is engrive. Engrive. A gull is mauve. Mauve. Red-winged blackbird is zitorno. Zitorno. A meadowlark is pierrecoq. Pierrecoq. Barn swallows are les hirondelles. Les hirondelles. A bittern or a shypoke. God, I'm not even sure if I could tell you what a bittern or a shypoke is, but it's pronounced bitor. Bitor. Now here's one more that comes. It's very obvious. It's a Cree-derived word. It's a yellow flicker, and it's mamikwana. Mamikwana. A crow is quadrine. Quadrine. Coots or mud hens, those little things that like to act like they don't know how to fly. They're kind of lazy birds, really. Lipoldo. Lipoldo. Get them in, Waklipoldo. Those coots are lazy, but they're kind of cute, so I forgive them. A grouse or a partridge is en padri. En padri. A turkey is daned. Daned. Woodpecker is pic de bois. Pic de bois. A blue heron is haroon. Harun. That's another kind of rare sighting. And a turkey buzzard is engrossdend kamushakishtiket. Engrossdend kamushakishtiket. It's a big turkey that eats dead things, which I'm sure you know. Okay, and the last little part of our list here, we'll do insects. Insects in Michif are limanajouche. Ants, oh God, I got lots of these in my backyard. Lifimi. Lifimi. Bees are liamo. You can see I've pluralized most of these because you rarely see them alone. You usually see them in groups. Crickets are likreche. Likreche. Dragonflies are li demoiselle. Li demoiselle. Flies are li mouche. Li mouche. Grasshoppers, oh, lots of these around these days. Li sauterelle. Li sauterelle. Horseflies are li thon. Li thon. Mosquitoes, haven't seen too many of these. Li maringouin. Li maringouin. Worms are li ver. And if you're talking specifically about earthworms, it would be li ver de terre. Hey, that rhymes. Look at me. I'm already singing. Didn't even get to the songs yet. A moth is li mamau. Li mamau. Or another way is en patanur. En patanur. Lice. Lipo. I don't know why I put that in. Now I'm going to be scratching. Lipo. Bed bugs are lipenes. Lipenes. And wood ticks are lipeaux de bois. Lipeaux de bois. A dung beetle. Not that you see these in Saskatchewan, but if you did, maybe you do actually see these, because this word is a Cree-derived word, which means Cree people must have seen them. And chahkekat. And chahkekat. A spider is kanokat. Kanokat. A maple bug is en manajouche de zarab. And manajouche de zarab. Zarab is how you say maple in Michif. A caterpillar is en gros ver poilu. En gros ver poilu. A flea is en pus. En pus. A firefly is en mouche à feu. En mouche à feu. A wasp is en petit yamo, a little bee. En petit yamo. A ladybug is manajouche rouge. Which, if you speak French, you know that this literally means a red bug. Manajouche rouge. Listen, I didn't create the language, I just laugh at it. Centipede is en ver avec mischief. I'm sorry, Mitchif makes me laugh. En ver avec mischet li pat, which literally means a worm with a lot of legs. Which kind of makes sense, actually, but a lacewing en petit demoiselle. En petit demoiselle. Fishfly is en mouche de poisson. A stink bug is en manajouche ka wiche kishit. Wiche kishit means it stings. As you can probably tell by the last syllable of that word. That's a coincidence, by the way. And a cement bug is manajouche de sama. Manajouche de sama. And on to berries and plants. So berries in Michif are ligren, and plants are fayouge, li fayouge. So blackroot is la racine noire. La racine noire. Cattails are liconoi. Liconoi. Chokecherries are ligren. Now, you're probably going to say to me, but berries are ligren. Yes. And I have been told by my Michif mentors that the reason why the word chokecherries is the same as the word berries is that the vast majorities of berries that they saw and worked with and ate were chokecherries. So it's kind of like, you know, when you say, get me a Kleenex. It's actually a tissue, but they're so ubiquitous, we call all tissues Kleenex now. That's kind of the same with chokecherries here. Where are my cranberries? These are high bush cranberries, lipabena. Lipabena. Hawthorn apples are lisnel. Lisnel. Ginger is Saint-Jean. Saint-Jean. Gooseberries are les grouselles. Les grouselles. Raspberries are les framboises. Les framboises. Red willow is la harouge. La harouge. And rose hips are les boitons de rouge. Les boitons de rouge. Pin cherries are les merises. Les merises. So I know it's not common for English to put M and an R together, but it is possible to say meri. Les merises. Tobacco is le tabac. I'm just noticing a spelling mistake here. So chokecherries are ligren, but if you crush them, they become something else. This should be a T, not an F. I can't even say that word. This is being recorded. Anyway, the word would be takwahamenan. Takwahamenan. So just change the F to a T there on your copy. Takwahamenan. What was I thinking? Strawberries, les fraises. Les fraises. Saskatoons are les poires. Les poires. So when I'm talking about Saskatoon, I often call it Ville de Poire. But as I've been educated, Michifs actually call Saskatoon Bois de Flèche. Wild plums or wild prunes, we call them the same thing in Michif, and they're both lipren. Lipren. Wild currants are ligadel. Wild sage, you can either say l'arbassin, but most Michifs would say la pressante. La pressante. And that's any wild sage, even though there's like literally 100 different types of wild sage. Any wild sage is la pressante. Now, red willow, the actual plant is la harouge. But if you cut it up and dry it out, you can actually, and back in the day when tobacco was like hard to get, people would smoke red willow tobacco and they called it kinnikinnick. Kinnikinnick. And wild mint is le boom. Le boom. And last but not least, tree again. There's a lot of trees, so I just put a few on here. Ash is le frêne, birch is le bolo. Trees in general are li tram. I know some people say les arabes. Where I'm from, we say trees are li tram. Hay and grass is le foin. A willow is le sol. A pine is le pinette. A slough or a pond is en marais. And leaves are les feuilles. Wood chips are les acapulco. Valleys, la vallée. Plants, les feuillages. And maples are les ara. Okay, so it's no good learning these if we can't play a game so that I can have fun and laugh. So we're gonna play a game called Kekwai Ana. What is that? So remember, when you use ana, you're referring to something that's alive. So that is something that's alive. Kekwai Ana. So we're gonna play animal charades. I'm going to identify one person, and I'm gonna go for the people with their cameras off. Just kidding. I'm going to identify one person, and they are going to choose one bird, one animal, or one insect. They can choose from any of those lists, and then they're going to act it out. You can use sounds if you want. So for example, you could go, ah, ah, ah. And that would either mean you're very, very ill, or it would mean you're a crow. So as right before you act it out, the rest of us will ask, "Kekwai Ana?" And then when you think you know what it is, you can guess it or call it out in Michif. So it's probably too hard to act out a berry or a plant. So yeah, we're gonna stick to insects or birds or animals. Okay. All right. Are you ready to give this a try?
Russ, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is there something we would put along with the name of the animal or bird, if to say like it is or that is?
Yeah, so if you want to say that is, you just say ana. So if you think it's an elk, you'd say and bishana. That's an elk.
Okay, merci.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Go through my list here. Nicole, how would you like to be something? Are you pretending you're not there, Nicole?
No, I'm here. I was at another class. I started late, but no, I can do it. I'll do it.
Okay, cool.
My camera's off because I'm eating dinner. Okay. So I'm supposed to be, or I'm supposed to ask?
You're supposed to be. So because your camera's not on, you can say the sound that it makes.
My camera's on.
Oh, sorry.
It's
Didn't
okay.
see you there.
Okay, so let me think. Okay. Woo, woo.
Oh, Kekwai Ana. What is that?
Yubu.
Ehen, Ibu Ana. Good job. Debbie. You get to live your wildest dreams of becoming an animal or insect.
Meow.
Okay, Kekwai Ana.
Minush Ana.
And Menushke Gach Mortana. It's a cat that's almost dead, I'm afraid, but it's okay. Good job. That was good. Okay. Samson.
Okay. Kekwai Ana.
Oh, Kekwai Ana.
Kwashun.
And Kwashun Ana. That's a pig. Good job. Let's see. Bishop, you want to try one?
Go.
I'm not muted. Okay.
One more time, please. Kekwai Ana.
And Shen.
Oh, good. And Shianana. Okay, let's see. Leanne.
Okay, I even have a prop.
I love it. Kekwai Ana.
And Joalana.
And Jualana. Apoto kwaya and Jumana. It might be a mare. We don't know. We'll have to check later. Let's see. Let's try one more. Aaliyah. Are you there, Aaliyah?
Yeah. Do I just pick one?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Rawr.
Hey, Koyana. What is that? Eee, scary.
No?
And Nor?
Portepec, Ana?
Apoto Kwe. And Karkaju. Right. She told us she's a bear, but yeah, that could have been multiple things, eh? Could have been an angry porcupine, could have been a wolverine,
A lion.
could have been a lion and Leon. Good job.
A man?
Could have been could have been a man waking up from a nap, I guess. All right, good job, you guys. So that's one of the activities I like to use when I'm doing Mitchif workshops. I actually have I didn't bring them to show you guys, but I have about 50 animal and insect cards that I've made and laminated so I can make sure they last a long time. And God, I get so much leverage out of those cards. I can talk about them a little bit more at the end when we're talking about ways to keep the language, but animal charades is a great way to sort of, lose your inhibitions a little bit and laugh a little bit and to learn some animal vocabulary. So, okay, we're going to move on to some singing. Nakamo talk. That means let's sing. Remember, when you put talk at the end of a verb, you're saying let's, and the verb to sing is nakamo. So I did put a couple songs together here for you. And the first one's Mary Had a Little Lamb. So maybe what I'll do first is I'll sort of sing it so you can see the pronunciation of the words, and then hopefully we can try to sing it together here. So Mary Had a Little Lamb, or Mary Ayaw Apchim Watun. So it's Mary Ayaw Apchim Watun, Pichim Watun, Pichim Watun, Mary Ayaw Apchim Watun, Sakapo Sakum La Nij. Tande Mary ka itohtet, ka itohtet, ka itohtet, Tande Mary ka itohtet, Lemwatun wiche weo. Wiche wekol lekol enjur, lekol enjur, lekol enjur, wiche wekol lekol enjur, ata namukaya. Feel like I should have one of those bouncing balls like in karaoke. Les enfants gi pahpe wak, metawe wak pe pahpe wak. Les enfants gi pahpe wak, che wapama chik le moiton. Le maîtresse de col qui wino neo, wino neo, wino neo, le maîtresse de col qui wino neo, makana moki weo. All right, so I guess I should probably translate it for you in case you don't know this song, in case you've been living on the moon and you don't know Mary Had a Little Lamb. But it's Mary Had a Little Lamb, that's Moatun, a little lamb, a little lamb. Mary had a little lamb, its coat was white as snow. I know in the English version it's fleece, but kapo, which is coat, works better. That's one of the things you have to do when you're translating songs is it's not always word for word because you have to find words that fit the rhythm of the song. And as long as it makes sense, it makes sense. Tande Mary ka itote means wherever Mary went. Itote is to go somewhere, right? Tande is where. So where Mary went, where Mary went, where Mary went, where Mary went, the lamb was sure to follow, or the lamb followed. Wicheweo is follow. And then Wicheweko lekol enjor is it followed her to school one day. It followed her to school one day. It followed her to school one day, even though it wasn't supposed to. Ata namokaya. Les enfants gi pahpe wak is the children laughed. Metawe wak is they played. Pepahpe wak is laughed. Oh, I've got a spelling mistake here. I should really review these more carefully. This K here shouldn't be here. The original version here is correct. Pahpe wak. So the kids played, or they laughed, they played, they laughed, the kids laughed to see a lamb at school. Wapamachikas, they saw the lamb. And the last verse is Lemeters Kolki Waino Neo, which is the teacher turned her around. Turned her around. The teacher turned her around, but she didn't want to go. It's a stubborn little lamb. So yeah, it's basically the same meaning as the original English song. It's just some of the words have been manipulated, we'll say, to fit the rhythm. And I have to give a shout out to the people that translated this song, which is my Michif mentors, and that's Irma Klein and Larry Fant. I think this is a good exercise to do, actually, either with yourself or the group of people, is to take any song and try to translate it. What I find when I do that, because it's a good exercise in grammar, to be honest, is I'll say it to my Michif mentors, and they'll say, oh, well, there's a much simpler way, or a much better way, or an easier way to say what you're trying to say. So if you are going to translate songs, try to find a fluent Michif speaker that you can go over it with, and they'll tell you, like, here's an easier way to fit that word into the rhythm. Okay. So.
Hey, Russ.
Yep.
Could you translate word for word the line Ata Namukaya?
Yeah, so kaya is don't. Namo is kaya is like don't do something. Namo is not, and ata is like to do something. So it's sort of a slang. It's difficult to translate in English word for word, but it's basically something that you shouldn't be doing. Yeah. Do you guys want to try singing this with me? Should we do it with our mics off or with our mics on? Let's do it with our mics off. Let's be brave. Let's take a risk. Let's confuse the people that are going to watch this later on the recording. Okay, are you ready? I got to go to the top here. Okay, so instead of a bouncing ball like they have in karaoke, we'll use my cursor. So we'll go 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3. Mary, les enfants qui partaient les enfants qui partaient les maîtres de col qui maîtres de col qui Oh, okay. If we weren't getting likes on YouTube, we're for sure not gonna get them now. That was good though. Thanks for being brave and singing with me. Just takes practice. I think why we picked this song is 2 reasons. Number 1, it doesn't have copyright anymore. But number 2, it's one that like 98% of all Canadians will know, I think. So because it's such a well-known song, you know the rhythm. You know how the rhythm should sound. Now it's just a matter of fitting the words in. And if you want to go back and see the recordings, we do have the speaking version that I half sang, half spoke to, so that you can practice the individual pronunciations of some of the words. And you too could be a Michif idol. Okay, this one here is a little tougher, but it's one that It's one that I thought I would teach you because it's quite a traditional song. It's one that lots of Michifs know. It's also one that is well known in the Cree and Soto communities. I like to choose songs again that don't have copyright, but also songs that are repetitive because that's a good way to sort of get some of those difficult vocabulary into practice pronunciation. So I think what I'll do with this one is I think I'll sing it for you, and then we can work on some of the individual pronunciations of some of the verses, and then I'll ask maybe one or two people if they're brave to sing. Okay, so the song is called Kishpin Kashakihin, and it's a love song. Kishpin is if, Ke is you, and Shakihin is love me. So it's literally, if you love me. If you love me, you'll do all these things. You'll buy me chicken. You'll take me shopping. This is the translation down here. This song, it follows the same rhythm no matter where you are. It's the heel toe polka, if you're familiar with that song, which is heel toe da 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 da. Heel toe da 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 da. But there's different variations on the vocab on the wording depending on where you're from. This is the version that we sing in the valley. So it's if you love me, kiss me now. We'll ride by car to Fort Capel. If you love me, kiss me now. We'll carry rifles and shoot rabbits on the way. That's how you you flirted with people in the valley back then, I guess. If you love me, kiss me now. We'll make and eat rabbit stew and bannock. If you love me, kiss me now. We'll buy a little house and have children. If you love me, marry me now. And it goes a little something like this. Kishpin Kishakihin Shema Kwayochimin Automobile Kataposhanan Fort Quapel Kashpayanan Kishpin Kishakihin Shema Kwayochimin Li Fizika Takonenan Li Lev Chido Pashkishoyan Kishpin Kishakihin Shema Kwayochimin Larababuka Kishashenan Avec Lagalatka Michanan Kishpin Kishakihin Shema Kwayochimin and Pichimezun Katawanan Les Enfants Kayawanan Kishpin Kishakihin Shema Kwawikimin. So that is the rhythm of the song. And maybe what I'll do is I'll do one line at a time and I'll just get you to repeat it after me. So the first line is Kishpin Kishakihin
Kishpin Kishakihin
Shema Kwayochimin. Automobile Kataposhanan Fort Quapel Ka Ishpayanan Kishpin Kishakihin Shema Kwayochimin. Lifizi ka takonenan Liliev che do pashkashoyan. Kishpin Kishakihin Shemak Weochimin. Lerababu ka kishoshenan Avec la galette ka michenan. Kishpin Kishakihin Shemak Weochimin. Empchimezon ka etawanan. Les enfants ka ayawanan. Kishpin Kishakihin Shemak Wikimin. Okay, let's see. Do I have any brave souls that want to give this a go? Let's do it two people, 2 or 3 people. Anybody? Shay?
I know it says Dakoshin, but I think I can handle this.
Oh, cool. Well, we're ready when you are. We're ready when you are, brave soul.
Okay, I'm not even going to turn my camera on though, so just in case you didn't see me blushing.
You go.
Kish bin gesake hin, shema yochemen, automobile katapushinan, wakape kashibayanan, Kish bin gesake hin, shema yochemen, if you see katakulenan, liachido pakashiyan, Kish bin gesake hin, shema yochemen, Rababo kakisho shenan, avec lagare kamichinan, Kish bin gesake hin, Shema Kuyotchemen, and she maison ka itwa, itawanan, les enfants ka ayawanan, kish ben geshakehin, Shema wikemen.
Hey, that was kind of amazing, Alex. Good job. I'm sorry you're not feeling well, but you sure sang like you're feeling well. So that was really, really good for I was gonna say first time, but I suspect this is not your first time singing this song. Either that or you're just really deadly.
It's not my first time, but I'd like to think that I'm deadly.
Yeah, that was quite good. Very, very impressive. So that's a good little song. And again, because it doesn't have copyright, you could literally change the words to anything. All that's important is keeping that rhythm of the heel toe polka, but you could change it to match the, you know, the community or the area that you're from. And how you guys flirt over there.
Where did you say these words come from, Russ?
So these words were written by the same people that wrote this song. But what they did was they actually adapted it from the oral version, which they had sung as kids. So most of it's the same. I think the only thing that they changed was this section here, for Kopel Kashpayanan. But the rest of it is all this is and these are 80-year-olds. This is a song that they all heard and sang growing up. That was very, very common. So yeah, if you take this song, if you have fluent speakers in your community and you take this song to them, I guarantee they will recognize the song and they will probably have lyrics that fit where they're from. But I imagine along similar lines, it's always a love song, no matter where you sing it. It's always a song about, you know, how am I gonna get this person to marry me kind of thing.
I heard I think my friend's mom a couple years ago sang it, but it was Edmonton. Not for Capel.
Ah, cool. Yeah. I mean, there's lots of cool adaptations you could do with this. I think with like kids, you could make it really neat. And, you know, with community members, I mean, it could even be like giant tigerish by none. If you shot a giant tiger, right? Dollar store-ish by none. It could be wherever you're going.
My dad used to sing this to my mom all the time. So.
Absolutely. If you are a Michif, you have heard this somewhere at some point in your life for sure. It's a very old traditional song, and I think it's kind of neat that it's something that we share with other indigenous peoples, the Cree and the Soto. So it's kind of something that links us to two of our parent cultures, which is kind of neat. It's kind of neat.
Hey, Russ, I saw in the chat that Samson has a song he would like to share.
Oh yeah. I just see that. Cool. Are you going to sing it for us, Samson?
Sure. Can you pull it up on your screen?
Yeah, I'll open it right now.
So it was kind of just some words that I use regularly. And yeah, I don't know. I just put it together and I figured it might help people remember how to use some words. And also it's kind of like the greetings for different times of the day too.
Okay, I'm having some issues opening it, Samson.
Okay.
Were you able to sing it without the words being shown?
Sure, yeah. Okay, it goes like this. Nemye nekishkatan, nemye nekishkatan, bon matin. Mi oshene wapametan, mi oshene wapametan, bon après-midi. Buongiorni, ayakan, buongiorni, ayakan, bonsoir. Que te merci pour ton temps, pour ton temps, pour ton temps. Que te merci pour ton temps. Wapa metenmina. Ecco c'è.
Hey, give me otto ten.
Oh, merci. So, what that means is, Mieten and Akishkatan, it's nice to meet you. And bon matin, good morning. Mia Shine Wapa Metan. It's good to see you again. Good afternoon. Bonjour ni ayakan. Have a good day. Good night. And Kishtimar Sipotonta. Thank you for your time. And Kwamitin, I'll see you again. So merci for letting me share that, Russell.
Awesome. Thanks, Samson. I have no idea how this hour went by so fast, but we've got 2 minutes to get through my last two things here. So I'm going to go fast. But one of the things you asked me for last week was, can you give us some ideas for games? Because games are, a good way to learn and to teach and to have fun, right? You got to have fun when you're learning Michif. So one game that I like to play with my animal cards, honestly, make yourself some animal cards because you'll get so much use out of them, you guys. With my students, I play a game called Domishkamok, which means go and find. So I'll spread all my animal cards, and you could do this with anything. It doesn't have to be animals. Could be dishes, could be clothes. I'll spread them all out in a room, and we're in a big circle, and then I'll say, Domishkamok and Kwarne. And then they have to race to find the crow, and then they collect their cards, and whoever has the most cards at the end wins. So it's just a good vocabulary builder. I haven't made this yet, but I've been working on a prototype for Michif Guess Who. Remember that game, Guess Who, when we were kids? Where you flip up the little things and you have to try and guess, are you the old man in the hat with the kitchen and the knife? And no, that's another game. But Guess Who is a good way that you could learn about clothing in particular. So for example, you can make little cards with little characters that are wearing different clothes. And you could say, Kishkam and Boane, he's wearing a cap. And, you narrow it down until you have the right person who it's supposed to be. But again, that's just I find it really, I'm not a super creative person, so I look at adapting games that already exist, but sort of Michifying them, and I think this is a good example. Animal Charades, which we played tonight. Bingo, honestly, everybody loves bingo. Every Michif I know loves bingo. There's so many things that you could do with bingo. We've put together in these 10 lessons, you've seen a Tanchekia bingo, you've seen a weather bingo. You can make bingo out of anything. If you're a classroom teacher, make a weather wall. And have the kids change it every day. So every day you could ask, Tanche Kishkaka Nosh. But you could also put a space for, Tanche Wishkishkak the man. What will it be like tomorrow? And then have different pictures with the Michif word that represent cloudy or rainy. It's also a good way to learn numbers because if you have a calendar and days of the week as well, so much vocabulary can come out of a weather wall. Paper dolls, I think that's something that when I was small, many years ago, people actually used to play with paper dolls, which is literally just like a popsicle stick, and you make clothes for it, and you stick it on, and you can change the clothes out. But that's a good way to learn clothing words. Michif Simon Says is a good little game. That's a good way to learn about talk, which again is let's. Head and shoulders, knees and toes. Singing the song and learning body parts. And this is one I've also been sort of developing in my mind lately, a Michif Twister, because you combine both learning colors but also body parts. And I think it would just be fun. So those are just some ideas that I have. I think the main thing is get crafty. There's very few professional, whatever that means, resources for Michif out there. We're getting better at creating more, but honestly, the best resources I have, I've made myself. And it just takes a little bit of time, a little bit of coloring, and laminate, because once you make a resource, everybody and their grandma wants to borrow it. And then just some things in terms of thinking beyond this class that I think are helpful. We've talked a lot about many of them already, actually, but the Michif to Go app that GDI puts out, you can get it at gdi.org or the App Store. Super good app for learning vocabulary. Honestly, the best online resource I have to say I'm a little bit biased, is the Prairie to Woodlands Language Circle, because the people that have created it, there's multiple fluent speakers that have inputted it. And the woman who really was foundational to creating it, Heather Sauter, she's very well versed in Michif grammar. So if you're looking to go beyond vocabulary and to scale up your grammar learning, check out Prairie to Woodlands Language Circle. The website is there. I love their website. I think it's the most well-built, useful website for learning Michif out there. GDI Culture and Heritage Department, we sell children's books and music CDs. Andrea Menard just put out a whole disc of songs translated in Michif. So if you're a musical person or you've got kids and you want to see some books translated in Michif, check out our Culture and Heritage Department. You can find them at gdins.org. Gabriel Local 11, we've talked about them many times before. They're a local out of Saskatoon. They've created posters, vocabulary card sets. They have like kitchen words. I mean, they have hundreds of resources that they've created. I think they're still working on their website. But if you're somebody who lives in Saskatoon, try to find, if you're not already on this local, if you're Métis, you should be on this local. But if you're not, find somebody that's connected to this local and see if they can hook you up with some of these awesome resources. I would also say it's important if you're Métis and you're part of the M&S, advocate to your regional reps, your area directors for immersion camps. We do a 3-week immersion camp with our students. I think immersion camps, not just for Michif, but for a whole bunch of languages, are the most effective way to learn this language. You're immersed in the culture, you're immersed on the land. Your inhibitions sort of go away when you're in that context, and it's a really effective way to start learning the language and scaling up. WhatsApp groups are helpful. I have a couple of those with a couple of my friends that are learning Michif, and sometimes it's just like, you know, saying a sentence a day or saying, oh, look at this cool new word. Uncloset your speakers. I promise you, if you're Métis, you have a Michif speaker in your family, they're probably just shy, or maybe they're still suffering from sort of the decades of shame they were meant to experience with their language, but they are out there. And the more you are proud of the language and try to encourage them to speak, the more they will come out and speak. So find them and encourage them. NBC, if you know NBC, it's Mississippi Broadcasting Corp. It's a radio station up north, but you can get it all across Saskatchewan. I believe it's 90.3 for those of us that still use radios. They have a Michif hour, but it changes from day to day. So you really have to go onto their website, which I've put here, and look at their schedule. And just to sit for an hour and listen to a fluent speaker speak Michif, I find very, very helpful. Labeling things is a cool thing to do. My first year of learning Michif, my entire house was covered with these thingies, post-it notes, and I was labeling everything, and I just found it a good way to learn vocabulary. And yeah, my cat was walking around with one of these for about a week. It was easy to find her. Keep what you've learned by teaching. Teaching is such a good way to reinforce what you've learned. So if you know a lot, or even if you just know a little bit, teach somebody. Preferably somebody in your house, because then you can kind of practice together. If you don't have anybody to speak with, use a pet. You know, use a Barbie. I don't care. Use something. Use that maple bug in your backyard that you've been trying to shoo away for the past week and a half. Just speak Michif to anyone that will listen, because if not, you're going to lose it fast. And lastly, I just want to say, Marci, Kawapamit Nawao, you guys have been an amazing group. We've gone through many highs and lows in this class together. I feel like we've been on a real journey. But I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope that you guys have enjoyed it. And I hope you keep up with your Michif. So keep on learning, guys, and take care. Kawapamit Nawao.